I do remember this one case where I interpreted for a witness who was the mother of a victim in a sexual assault case. So I could tell that the witness was very uncomfortable, but I did my best to change my tone and my style of interpretation to make her feel a little bit more comfortable, more at ease when answering.
Our core duty is interpreting, but our job is not just about going to court, interpret, and then you're done. So there's a bit of work that goes behind all that because it's actually a very multifaceted role. It requires a combination of language proficiency, cultural understanding, people skills, and also legal knowledge. So when we are assigned a case that requires our interpretation, we will look up the case files on e-litigation to understand what the case is about. For myself, firstly, I will familiarize myself with key details of the case. So for me, names, numbers, places are very important, especially because most of the time we are interpreting simultaneously. Secondly would be to look out for any specific areas or concepts that I should be familiar with. So if I know that I'm being assigned a sexual offense case or a murder case in the coming weeks, I will look up terms related to murder or sexual offense. Finally, at the court proceeding stage, this is where we meet the person that we are interpreting for face to face.
So what we actually do, is to listen attentively to court users and to identify the nuance, the context, and next to identify the most fitting terms, and then after to interpret them consecutively and with precision. And all this takes a lot of effort.
Okay, so I actually don't have any legal background. Initially, it was really a hurdle getting accustomed to the legal jargon because, you really have to make sure that you fully understand the concepts in English before you can try to interpret it in Tamil. So that is something that took some time for me. I think I spent a good 2 months shadowing my seniors in court. I think one very important thing about the Tamil language is that the structure is very different from the English language. So the English language follows the subject, verb, object order, but the Tamil language follows the subject, object, verb order. So that means that when we're interpreting, we will have to work backwards.
So I've been helping to translate for court users from English to Chinese or English to Cantonese and vice versa. So for different court users, for example, they hold from China or they hold from Singapore, they tend to use different terms. So I've also observed, for example, 周日, and Singapore refer to 周日 for Mondays to Fridays, but for the mainland Chinese court users, they are actually referring to just Sundays.
When we're on the stand, we set everything aside and we focus on providing accurate and professional interpretation. But we're only human, so we really do need to practice and learn how to detach ourselves. For me, it took some time. In the initial days, I think that I would really form emotional attachments and I would feel particularly strongly about certain cases and I would carry that feeling around with me for a while.
So part of our job as an interpreter is also to be able to manage our witnesses effectively so that we can provide interpretation effectively to the court as well. So sometimes the witnesses may be crying and they may speak in an unintelligible manner or incoherent manner.
I do remember this one case where I interpreted for a witness who was the mother of a victim in a sexual assault case. I think she felt very uncomfortable, and it's understandable because the victim was her own daughter and the perpetrator was someone that she had trusted. So I could tell that the witness was very uncomfortable. She was very hesitant when she was providing her answers, and at some points she would even resort to gestures because I think she just couldn't bring herself to say certain things. But I did my best to change my tone and my style of interpretation to make her feel a little bit more comfortable, more at ease when answering.
At the end of the day, we become the voice that these court users wish to have in a courtroom. And this helps them to ensure that they have access to justice in the courtroom and helps them to be able to fully participate in court proceedings.